Great to see you. Hope you're having a great time so far. I really enjoyed the exercise. So that was great. I travel a lot. I go to a lot of meetings, so I learned something today very helpful. Thank you. It was great. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, today I really like to share with all of you some of our own experiences in Kimberly-Clark Corporation. Yes, I'm coming all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I'm based. Part of my responsibility is about human resources for the whole Latin America region and the Caribbean. It's about 20 different countries. It's a very large territory. And what I really like to share with you is about the journey, the experience that we in Kimberly-Clark have been able to attain in the last 10 years since we started doing or becoming a great place to work. Let me say that no matter how good you are in your company becoming a great place to work, it never ends. You always have to get even better every year. So you have to work with a lot of perseverance. And that certainly will help your organization, your company, in becoming, in getting even better, and becoming a great place to work. We're going to see some of the Kimberly-Clark experiences of how we have been able to achieve this. But once again, we still continue on this journey. Every year we learn something new. One of the reasons also for me to be here all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, is because I also want to learn from many of the companies, from many of the people who are presenting here. And that's part of being a great place to work. So let me start by, okay, how am I doing this? Am I moving back? Okay, there you are. That's me. That's me. Anyway, now Kimberly-Clark Corporation, we probably serving about 1.3 million consumers around the world, and we are more or less in about 150 different countries around the world. Some of our brands, in particular here in this part of the world, Greater China and other parts, this is some of the brands that we have here in China. You may recognize some of them. We are a consumer good company. And anyway, let me start here by sharing that several years ago, I was flying from New York to Dallas, Texas. And I went to buy a newspaper at the airport, and I found this, what I'm going to show you. This is what I saw. And it really kept in my head because it has some meaning for any organization. The title says there are 3 kinds of people. Those who make things happen. Second, those who watch things happen. And third, those who wonder what's happening. Now, in any organization, any company, there are those 3 types of people. There are those people who today are making things happen. Maybe many of you here are making things happen in your company. And I'm sure that you probably know some people in your own company, in your own organization, who are sitting in the middle, who just watching things happen. And there are those that wondering what's happening here. Now, this for me, it was an open-minded, because clearly, when you start seeing any organization with this, then is when you realize we need to do something. Because what we really like to have in our company, in our organization, is to people to make things happen. How do you do that? And that's where the journey with Great Places to Work started 10 years ago. Okay, we started in one country. We wanted to see how that worked. What was that experience? And then we started learning from our own mistakes. And we started correcting things. And then we went little by little to other countries. And now, particularly from the region that I'm responsible in Latin America, all 20 countries are a great place to work. So it's a nice journey that we have been able to accomplish. So, this is another question that I have for you. We hear these all the time. And I call this chart the Holy Grail paradigm. Now, what in the world is that? You probably heard, you probably seen this, that employees are the greatest asset of any company. Would you agree with that? Would you agree with that? Right? Everybody, of course, will agree with that. Now, what we learn in Kimberly-Clark, what we learn is that not necessarily so. Because what we learn is that high trust employees or high engaged employees are the company's greatest asset. When you saw the three monkeys before, if you wanted to hire one of those people, which one would you hire? Probably you will hire the first one. Those people who are making things happen. You know that that person is going to make things happen for your company. So this is part of what we learned. That when you have high engaged employees or high trust employees, those people, those employees will become your greatest asset. And therefore, it's very important for all companies, for all organizations, to have employees fully, highly engaged or fully high trusted. That's what will make the difference. Now, let's continue. For us in Kimberly-Clark, and I'm sorry, I'm taking these steps just to show you what we went through, what we're going through. So for us, we define employee engagement as, before the definition, this is a very important piece that I'm talking here. Employee engagement, or becoming a great place to work, is not exactly about what we do, although that might be important. But that is not really about what we do. The key thing is about, sorry, I'm moving backwards. But it's how we do it that will make the difference. Many people wanted to see the recipe. What did you do in Kimberly-Clark, Ramiro? What did you do to become a great place to work? And I may be able to share all the best practices. And that's good. We need to exchange best practices. But the key to be successful is how you do it. Now, every country around the world has their own culture, right? Their own culture. So, what we do, you have to take in the context or how your culture will do it. So everything has to do with how you do the things that you would like to achieve in your organization. Now, this is what I was trying to create before. High trust employees, we believe, create value. High trust employees create value for any organization. Now, for us, it really is a strong, rational, and emotional attachment to the organization, to the company, to the job that you're doing. That's for us what we define, a high trust employee or high engagement employee create value for any organization. We saw before that high trust employees produce satisfied customers. Satisfied customers will give you great results, and great results keeps everybody happy. That's a simple formula. High trust employees will produce satisfied customers will produce great results, and great results keep everybody happy. In any business, typically there are the three elements of strategy. In Kimberly-Clark, when we started the journey 10 years ago, we always, the leadership, we always spoke particularly about the value proposition and the profit proposition. But the people proposition, yeah, it was there, but we really did not spend a whole lot of time in our business as part of the strategy. And guess what? Many organizations today are going in the same direction. And what we learned is that if we wanted to have our business strategy really well defined and really strong, we needed to speak and we needed to see what was the people proposition for the strategy. And that's when we found that becoming a great place to work or delivering your organization fully engaged will create that value for the business strategy. So what I'm starting to talking to you this morning is, I know you, in this part of the world, you recently are becoming more and more involved that your company, your organization will become a great place to work. And I applaud this. I think you're doing the right thing. But one of the things that will be very important for you to take away from here, from this conference, is that when you start becoming a great place to work, one of the greatest things that you're going to see is how your business will get even better. Why? Because when you got your employees fully engaged in any strategy, that is going to produce much better business results. So, let's continue with this. I'd like to share this in the next chart. This is from Great Place to Work Institute. Because for us in Kimberly-Clark, this chart is very important in the next one. Very important. Has anybody of you seen this chart before? Nobody? You seen it. Only one person, maybe I don't know how many people, 2 people. Very few people. Well, you can go to the website of Great Place to Work and you find this. That's simple. But this is very important chart, at least for us in Kimberly-Clark as well. Because through this chart, we start discovering what is that we needed to do if we wanted to change our workplace from one that is there to one that is a great place to work. That's what makes the difference. Now, take a look at this chart, and you're going to see at the center of everything, I don't know if this has a laser, this one? Oh yeah, okay. At the center of the thing, you see the trust, and you see 5 elements around there, which is about credibility, which is about respect, which is about fairness, which is about camaraderie and pride. Those are the 5 dimensions Great Place to Work uses in order to find out if your company is really becoming a great place to work or not. So when we began doing this for us was a very important chart, particularly because this chart, as you can see on top, this is from the employee perspective. This is what employees like you and I are expecting from our leaders to do. A leader must be credible. A leader must be able to show respect. A leader must be able to show that he or she is fair in all the decisions that he or she is making. There has to be a sense of belonging, of pride, that you work for this company, for this team, for this organization. And it's also a sense of camaraderie. We are one team. It's almost like the sense we are one family, one big family. So employees around the world, and this has nothing to do sometimes with culture, local culture. This is a model that has been proved around the world that in any culture, these 5 elements that you see there are key, are crucial when you start your journey. As many of you already start in this journey and becoming a great place to work. Now the next chart is the other one that I mentioned is also very important, because this one is from the manager's perspective. It's from the leader's perspective. Many leaders were asking us in Kimberly-Clark, okay, yeah, I want to become a great place to work. But me as a leader, as a manager, what do I need to do? Help me. And many of your companies, many of your team leaders, many of your managers may be asking, okay, yes, I want to be a great place to work. Help me, what do I need to do? How can I do this? And you see the elements there. We start telling our leaders, and we're still telling them to do it. Like I said, we haven't stopped. This is still a very valid chart for us in Kimberly-Clark, even though after 10 years. So we expect our leaders, our managers. I'm not going to go through every one, but for example, sorry, I'm not getting used to this one. We want them to inspire. We want for them to be able to listen and speak. And this is about communication. We start listening this morning about communication, multi-dimensional communication that electronics was sharing with us. But communication, don't forget, is more than just me talking to you. It's not just the manager doing all the talking. A manager, a good leader, will do also a very good listening. So that's why it's the 2 elements here. It's the speaking and the listening that the manager needs to do. Another element is thanking. A manager must be able to say to any employees, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for a great job done. That's a very simple thing, right? Very simple. But when a leader, when a manager truly does these things, things start changing. The other one there is developing. We hear a lot now this word. A manager must develop their teams. A manager expectation is to develop his or her team. And this is also a very important piece. A manager must be involved in developing his or her team. So this chart for us in Kimberly-Clark, it was and it still is a very important chart. These help us guide our managers and our employees, our organization, to get even better on all these 10 elements that you see there. The caring, the thanking, the sharing, the listening. So what I'm going to show you in a few minutes is some of the practices that we do. How do we communicate with people? How do we celebrate? How do we recognize? How do we say thank you? Right, good job you're doing. I remember this, a lot of managers, sometimes they don't know how to do this. That's why we need to, if you work in human resources, part of your job is trying to help those team leaders, those managers, to get better on this. Okay? By the show of the hands, how many people here today work with human resources? How many people here? Human resources. Okay, well, it's probably, I don't know, 30%. What about in the marketing area? Anybody marketing here? Marketing? No? You? Okay, good. One, we got one. Anybody in finance? Finance? No? Anybody in, I don't know, operations? Research? So what do you guys do? I'm only kidding. Anyway, but the HR is very important for the HR to do this kind of stuff. Now, Some of the benefits about being a great place to work. I mentioned earlier that when you become a great place to work, one of the things that you start seeing is also most companies will start to produce a much better business results. And in this one, it's a comparison. This is a comparison from 1997 to 2012, where actually Great Place to Work Institute did a comparison and analysis of those companies, this is by the way in North America, those companies who are Fortune 100 best companies to work for in the US, how they stack up against the index in the US called Russell 3000 and the other index called S&P 500. And this is the annual returns that they had since 1997 to 2012. And look at this, the companies today who are Fortune 100 best places to work for in the US, they totally outperform the two indexes. And here, 2 times better than the general market. Now, do you think that was a coincidence? Do you think that was magic? It was luck? We believe, I believe, and that was part of the reason why we also got engaged with this, is that great companies, great places to work companies or organizations absolutely produce much better business results than a company that is not. And sometimes, in many of our companies, before we start getting into be a great place to work program or project, the CEO or the big person of the company, probably don't believe in that or may have second thoughts. And sometimes we need to start showing that some of this statistical data is very valuable for any CEO or any finance director or CFO of the company to see that this is a worthwhile getting into it. Because clearly business result will come. Now let me show you the next one. This is actually for us in Kimberly-Clark. This is one country. This is a country. Business results since 2006 to the end of 2012. So this is actual data, okay? This is not just, this is actual data. And notice that the study correlation that in 2006, this company, the green part, is the profit of that country, and the red is the what we call Great Place to Work Trust Index. You heard about that, right? Trust Index, right? Okay? Take a look at the correlation since 2006. Now, I truly believe that this company, as you can see, in the last 6 years, this company grew 5 times, 5-fold. Okay? Here's another one, another country, pretty much almost the same thing. It produces much better business results. Here's another one. This company in 6 years grew twice. Now here's some of the analytics. We wanted to learn if this country, in Kimberly-Clark, this is Kimberly-Clark also, if it grew 1 percentage point in the trust index, okay? And the trust index of this country is already pretty high. So when you get to the 90s, to go even more, it's very difficult. But if you increase it 1 percentage point, what would it be in the profits? How much profit can be generated if the trust index goes 1 point up? And in this particular case, almost $3 million operating profit. So that's not bad at all. The next one is a smaller number, but it still is the correlation. 1 percentage point in the trust index in this company, in this country, represent almost $500,000. Now, this is important things that as you continue your journey in becoming a great place to work, these are some of the benefits that your organization ought to obtain. So it's not just about being a great place to work, it's not just about all feeling nice and feeling happy and so on, although that's good to have. But it's also about what is the business results. How can these influence your company's, your organization, business results? I always say that there is a big differences in being a great place to work and being a nice place to work. You can have many nice places to work who probably today their results are not doing very well. But when you have a great place to work, then things start looking a little bit different. So this is a big distinction between those two components. So business results is one of the key drivers that should help any organization when you go into the journey of being a great place to work. What are the other benefits of being a great place to work? What about your brands? Your brands will get even stronger. You know why? Because people start recognizing that this particular brand is made by that company who is a great place to work. And that in the customer mind, that shows that, well, if Kimberly-Clark Corporation is a great place to work, and they produce these brands, therefore, it must be a very good quality. And indeed they are. They are. But your brands, whatever brands is represented here in this room, will even get even better, stronger. What about your employer branding? That's another very powerful measure. Once your company start becoming a great place to work, your employer brand is even stronger. Everybody start recognizing, oh my goodness, whatever company, Kimberly-Clark, all company, that is a great place to work. I want to be part of that company. That's employer brand. What about innovation? In our own experience, we have seen in these last 10 years, many of our employees delivering innovation in such a fast pace that is unbelievable. Why? Because people feel this is my company. People feel I have that sense of belonging, of ownership. And I want to do this. What about, your employees will have more focus on where? On the consumer and your customers. That's another powerful element in any company. What about attracting and retaining talent? I know here in China, I always hear that people come into companies and they normally don't stay for a very long time and typically go to another company because here the market is China is growing so fast and so rapidly that it's amazing. Well, we have experience in other countries where the economies are very robust, they're growing, but when you become a great place to work, it will help attract people and retain people. Why? Because people want to be part of a winner. People want to stay with a company that is producing this environment of being a great place to work. That's why I show you the first two charts from Great Place to Work, from an employee perspective and from the manager's perspective. Because when you create that environment where you are listening, when your manager cares about you, when your manager cares about your development, when your manager says thank you to you, recognize you, motivates you, man, I want to stay there. Why should I go to another place? So these will help in attracting and retaining talent. And the last thing, we believe in Kimberly-Clark, we have seen, as part of the mission of Great Place to Work, creating a better society, well, we believe in that because we have seen in Kimberly-Clark in the last 10 years, in many different countries around the world, this element. People are feeling much better as a human being. Another key thing for us in Kimberly-Clark is about families. That's why this chart, I say that employees and their families, they will become, or they are probably the company's best ambassadors to the outside world. So families is very important in Kimberly-Clark in this journey that we have. Now, we heard this morning from Metronics about some of the elements about communication and so on. I truly believe that communication is one of those key elements that we already discussing about becoming a great place to work. The communication and the listening. Some of the things that we do on transformational communication, we spend a lot of time. We continue to today, continue to work very heavily on communication to all our employees, regardless of what they do. We don't care what an employee does. I'm going to move out of this. For us, a good communication in Kimberly-Clark is about these three elements. It's about proximity. It's about having a dialogue. Because when you have a dialogue, you're also listening and you're paying attention. And it's also about being very transparent. Transparency of all those elements, of the results, objectives, etc., etc., etc. So communication is very key. I always share, when I have the opportunity to speak, an example. We have in Peru, Lima, Peru. Anybody been in Peru? Has anybody been in Peru? You've been in Lima, Peru. Very nice, okay. Lima, Peru, the driver of Kimberly-Clark. When I go to visit Peru, I normally arrive at the airport around 11:30 at night. And Pedro, that's his name, Pedro, is the driver of Kimberly-Clark. He goes to the airport to pick me up, to take me to the hotel. When I get inside the car and I start talking to Pedro, I normally ask Pedro a simple question. So Pedro, how Kimberly-Clark is doing this month in Peru? Well, Pedro knows everything about Kimberly-Clark, Peru. He knows what's going on during the month. He knows how the sales are doing. He knows what is the profitability. He knows what problems or what issues we have with customers. He knows what challenges we have, etc. Now, he's just a driver. That's all he does, driving people. How he obtained this information is because of the transparency of communication that we have with everyone. We don't care what you do. We want all our employees to know exactly what's going on in the company. That's very important, because when an employee knows what's going on, they can start relating, where do I fit in this? What is my role doing? I asked Pedro, you're the driver. Now, how important is your job? What you do for Kimberly-Clark? It's important to obtain results here. And he says, yes, very important. My job is very important, Pedro tells me. Okay, tell me more. Why? He said, because every time I had to take the managing director of Kimberly-Clark Peru to have a meeting with a customer, I'm the one doing the driving. And I need to make sure that when he gets to the customer, he gets, number one, on time, and number two, that he reach the customer in a safe way. I don't have no accidents, and therefore, when he goes there to that meeting, it's very important, that meeting, because they're going to sign an agreement. And that's very important for Kimberly-Clark. So as you can start seeing, even Pedro realized that being a driver has an important component and obtaining the business results for Kimberly-Clark Peru. Now, that's a very small example, but this is to show you that when you have that good communication, things start happening. Things start changing. And when every manager and every leader understands their role in being a good communicator and being a good listener, things start changing. Well, some of our practices that we support these, there you are, we inform, we align, motivate, engage. See a lot of communication that we do, written forms. We use many different vehicles, many different tools to communicate with people. A lot of conferences with our people. By the way, in Kimberly-Clark worldwide is about 58,000 people, 58,000 employees. Latin America, the region that I work with, is about 18,000 people that we have. It's about 18,000. And we have also manufacturing sites. In Latin America, we got 20 different manufacturing sites. And those people are in it. They also are part of this. It's not just only the marketing or the finance or the operation or research or HR. No, it's everyone. It's more stuff there, to motivate them and to engage them. What about inspiring leadership? I know I had to watch the time. Inspiring leadership. This is important for us. A leader, for us, a leader is not what typically referred as my boss. For us, it's not a synonymous. It's not the same. It's not the same. That's very important. All leaders, not just one, are the actual drivers of the company. That's what I told you about Pedro. Pedro, he only drives a car, but he knows that what he does is very important for the results. Think about this. Think about each one of you here. Your job that you do, and many other people that you know in your company, do they really know that what you do, how does that reflect in your company results every month? If the answer is yes, you say, Ramiro, yes, I know exactly my job, how it reflects the results of the company. Well, let me say to you, congratulations. Really great. But if today you don't know, this is part of this beginning in continue being a great place to work, because you're going to discover in your company how you can achieve that. Why so important to the business? When the leader, this is it. Look at the leader from the top. Look at, he has or she has, so happy face. But look what happened. When the leader is really having a difficult time, that leader can affect the entire organization, right? If a leader is not credible, the rest of the organization suffers. When a leader doesn't show respect, everybody suffers. When a leader is not fair on any of the decisions, or fair on everything that he or she does, guess what? Everybody suffers. So that's why, for us in Kimberly-Clark, and I'm a truly believer in this, I believe in this entirely, that when we speak about being a great place to work, or in other languages, have a great engagement results, for me, everything is about leadership. It's about leadership. If there is something that today the corporate world still needs to aspire even more, is to get great business leaders. It's about leadership that will make a difference here. Well, what makes our leaders inspirational? There you are. They need to understand what is that motivating the team. I need to move on. I'm sorry, I take a long time. I really enjoy here. I may not be able to finish this, all the chart that I had there, but I can share the presentation with anybody of you. So let me move here a little more. I like to finish this because I only have about 3.5 minutes. See, our culture for growth, our business continues to grow, but for us it's very important that in the center of everything there is what? Trust. That's why I love the terminology in Great Places to Work is when they ask you, so what is the trust index in your organization? So what is the trust index in your company? That's a great question. When people grow, the company grows. Some of the practice that we use to develop people, I mentioned to you that today probably one of the key elements that most employees throughout the world, by the way, when I go, I speak in different parts of the world. I go to Europe, go to Latin America, US, now here, but one of the things that I have learned everywhere that I've been is today, one of the key elements most employees are looking for is, well, how is the company plan to develop itself? What is the plan that you guys in this company have? So developing is a very key thing. I mentioned about family. We want to take care of people in a very holistic way. It's not that family goes in this direction and your career goes in that direction. We don't believe that. We believe that has to be a holistic. Career and family need to go or have some type of alignment there. Work-life balance, for us in Kimberly-Clark, is also very important. If we get it better, we're not there yet, I think we're getting better. This is some of the things that we do, stay close to our family, some of the practices that we do. What about our health? And we heard today from Medtronic about, the health piece that they have there. Well, we have also pretty much same thing. What about safety? It's a big thing for us. So, what do we do to achieve with this? It's a company with a big heart. Remember what I told you, for us, engagement or having a great place to work is a connection. It's a link between rational experience and emotional experience. It's from the head and also from the heart. Very important for us that. A lot of companies are trying to become a great place to work or have high engagement only through a rational experience. But in order to be real, that experience must be rational and emotional. And that's what we in Kimberly-Clark have been able to try to do. So what is the winning culture? What is this winning culture will give you? High aspirations, desire to win. People not only know what is that they have to do, but why they should do it. This is more like external recognition that we in Kimberly-Clark have experienced in Great Place to Work. In Latin America, for 3 years, we were number one, this company to work for in Latin America. This year, we took number 3. Most recently, this year, this is in San Francisco when they had the global best multinationals to work for in the world. We took number 6. Last year, we were number 4. But we feel very good because Kimberly-Clark, in that list, is still number 6, is the first consumer good companies listed there. I don't want to go through this, that takes another conference. But I'm going to leave you with this. 6 key messages here. In order to do all this journey, to have this journey, it must start at the top. This is not flowing from bottom up. This has to start from the top. So it has to start from the top. That's one of the reasons a lot of top leaders need to be more convincing. Why do I need to do this, Ramiro? Why do I need to become a great place to work? Tell me. And if you tell that leader, well, we just want to feel more happy. He may tell you what ranks on movies and get everybody laughing. But it's deeper than this. So you need to be able to start showing some evidence, some proof that being a great place to work, it creates much better work environment. People will have pride in what they do, and the business will benefit. Everybody will win. You must be able to walk your talk. That's very important. Walk your talk, particularly for the leaders. Leaders must be able to walk the talk. A leader will stand out here and say, yes, I would like to do this, I'd like to do this. But when they turn around, They don't do nothing of what they say. Well, that leader will lose credibility. This will not work. So you must walk your talk. And third, yeah, well, you saw already. A day here, we want our employees to say, a day here is a day well spent. I love coming to work. I love my job. I love what I do. We want our employees to feel like that. Third, fourth, our culture is our business weapon. Our culture. If there is one thing the competition cannot duplicate, you know that, is your culture. So culture is a competitive advantage. We want, the message is, we care about you. Employees need to know that your company care about them. And that's what we try to tell our employees. And finally, we say, we're going to help you grow. We help you grow. We're going to provide you the opportunities. And this is the last one. I call it the Sunday question. The Sunday question is, I don't know here in China, Greater China, but in America, every day of the week, it has some different meaning for many people. You remember the first chart of the three monkeys? Probably those who are just watching things happen and those who are wondering what's happening, they fit in this chart. Take a look, Monday, right? Monday. It's like, all right, okay, what's going to happen here today? It's the beginning of the week, right? So you see the faces. Look at Tuesday. Oh, well, things are maybe not going well, or whatever happened. Look at Wednesday. Look at Thursday, a little more smile, right? Because Friday's coming. Then Friday, everybody's happy on Friday. Why? It's time to go home. No more work. In fact, there is a restaurant around, probably many countries around the world, I don't know if Greater China has, Thank Goodness It's Friday. That's the name of the restaurant. TGI. Thank goodness it's Friday. Everybody's waiting for Friday. Everybody wants to go home. Oh, I'm so glad that my week is over. And then Saturday, everybody's happy. The weekend, I'm having a great time, right? What about Sunday? Oh, that's the Sunday question. Oh man, tomorrow I have to go to work. Monday, once again. So, we ask our employees. We developed this question about probably 6 years ago. We want our employees on Sunday, around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever they are, we want for them to close their eyes for 1 second, 10, 15 seconds, and ask themselves a question. And the question is, how do I feel going back to work tomorrow? And if the answer is, oh, I hate it. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh. We ask and we encourage those employees, next day on Monday, please go and sit down with your team leader or with your manager. And tell your manager, yesterday I had the Sunday question and I'm feeling bored, or I'm not happy, or I need to talk to you. And that's what we want, because we want everyone to start the week with a happy face, like they have on Saturday. Because every day is a new day. Every day is a day well spent here. Okay? And with that, I'll leave you. I want to say thank you for your attention, and sorry for a little bit too much.
Questions and answers.
Do you have any questions? Any comment for me? Anybody? I sweat a lot because I move a lot. I'm coming from Latin America. We always move our hands like the Italians. We love it. We dance. Anybody has any questions? No questions? Okay. Yes, sir. Question over there. Can you stand up so everybody can listen to you?
Hi, it's Jason from Crowley Associates. I'm a headhunter at the search firm.
Yeah.
So I believe you will have all the active talks with the people who left your company. Did you have ever listed the top 3 major reasons that why you decided to leave?
Yes, and in fact, that's a good question. And let me say by starting that our retention index is actually even better than what we call, at least in the US, index for consumer good companies and the attrition rate. Our attrition rate right now is about 4.9%, which is pretty good compared to best companies to work for, which the last time I read that number was about 5.3, 5.4. Having said that, yes, we got people who leave the company. And sometimes the problem is there is one major point, most likely people will leave a company. Their manager, remember, people don't leave companies. People leave their managers. Right? You heard that. It's true. They don't leave the company. They leave their manager, the team leader. One of the main issues that we had there, in the first chart that I showed you about Great Place to Work, is about fairness. It's about impartiality. That employee felt, in many cases, that his or her manager was not very fair in what he or she was doing. And this employee felt, I don't feel comfortable where there is no fairness. So that's one of the most important issues that we have in cases where people have moved on for another company. The other thing too, and I didn't have a chance to talk, I had a word there called employability. Employability, the way we describe, and we encourage this, is that employees have gone or leaving Kimberly-Clark for much even better jobs. Faster moving, growing up. So we see a lot of cases where people in marketing or in finance or human resources, they move to another company outside Kimberly-Clark, not to do the same position, but to have a bigger position. And that for us is good. We like that. So employability, we tell our employees, when you join Kimberly-Clark, your employability within Kimberly-Clark is going to continue, is going to grow, but also your employability outside also will grow. Because I tell you what, one of the things that we have with headhunters, at least in that part of the world, is guess where they want to hire people from? Companies like us who are a great place to work. They want to go after those people. So we got that element. But for most part, I think we are doing, like I said, with 4.9 attrition rate. I think that's pretty good. But thank you for your question. I think it was very important, and I hope that I sort of answer a little bit of that.
Yeah, thank you. That's quite convincing. So, by the way, can I shoot my resume to you to apply for a recruiting manager?
Send it, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Okay, sorry for taking more time than I was supposed to, but anyway, thank you.